Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our monthly The Doctors Are In. This is sponsored once again by It Takes a Village Ministry. We are a 501c3 organization committed to creating natural healing communities across the world. And this is our virtual natural healing community where we invite health practitioners and professionals from across the world to join in conversation with you, our wonderful village community. And we invite you to bring forth concerns, questions, thoughts, topics, anything pertaining to health and wellness for us to enter into a community discussion, a village discussion, so that we can all be empowered to transform our health moving forward into the future. And once again, we have here with us our wonderful Dr. Christopher Lang, who is a phenomenal dentist, amazing dentist here in Tallahassee, Florida. And then we also have myself, Dr. Michelle Gamble, and I am currently based in Florida. But as I was explaining to people just before starting this, we are getting ready to come to a town near you. Yes, we are doing the Hope and Healing Tour. And in the Hope and Healing Tour, we are going to go to 25 cities across the nation. So if you want your town to be on the Hope and Healing Tour sequence, give me a call, shoot me an email, and we'll see if we can stop in your town. In every single town, what we're doing is a week of healing events. The first day, we are going to be showing the documentary Medical Racism that was produced by our collaborator, Urban Global Health Organization. And then on the Tuesday, we're going to be doing in person, the doctors are in, inviting not only our celebrity doctors from the past who are virtual to stream in, but also looking for a health practitioner in the local cities that we're visiting. And then the following day is when we're going to be doing a community health empowerment workshop entitled Why People Don't Heal, But You Can, learning the secrets to transform your health to break free from chronic illness. And then the fourth day, we are having an amazing girls' night out for women only. Sorry, guys, but it's going to be a women's only event. And we're going to be doing several things, including teaching you how to do what we call healing touch, using aromatherapy and using reflexology. And then the final day is going to be a day-long intensive training entitled Heal Thyself, where you're going to learn the ABCs to be able to heal yourself, learn how to do assessments, learn how to build, how to cleanse, and totally blow everybody away with your amazing prowess in terms of health and natural wellness. So with that, I invite you guys to throw in questions, thoughts, ideas, concerns, topics for us to discuss. Woohoo! Yay! Okay, come on, you guys. Y'all are just kind of like chilling, looking at me, and no, that is not sufficient. This is a participatory event. So somebody's got to throw something in the mix for us to have a wonderful discussion today. Yay!
I got a good question. How you doing? I'm
Hey.
Bill Collins, for anybody that don't know me.
All right.
Yeah, well,
Uh-oh, your volume just went out.
oh,
Oh, there you go. Here you go now.
okay, yeah. Yeah, a lot of times I'm a pharmacist,
Oh,
and
awesome.
we get hit with the questions before the physicians do. But
Yes.
one thing came up today was the situation about fish oil.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned to a patient, was talking about some oh yeah, muscle aches and pains and stuff like that. And so I said, well, you familiar with fish oil?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, actually, I tried fish oil, and my PSA went up.
Hmm.
And so he had a biopsy, and it was benign,
Mm-hmm.
but it was just he attributes that to the fish oil. Now I was
Mm-hmm.
wondering if anybody was familiar with that, or what you think about fish oil.
Well, it's funny because, generally speaking, when we talk about fish oil, it is anti-inflammatory. So it's kind of weird, you know, and I would say coincident.
Mhm.
You know, it's funny because whenever we talk to people about taking natural supplements, um, if they buck their big toe, then they want to blame it on the supplements, you know. And it's funny that we don't have the same concept when taking medications, which is interesting to me. But the big part of fish oils to consider is the quality of the fish oils in general, and whether or not there is the possibility of mercury toxicity. And then when you're dealing with certain people who have certain mental challenges, you know, mental health illnesses, you want to make sure that you really dial in on the proper fish oils. And then the other thing to do, what I do with some of my clients that are concerned about fish oils, is we do what's called a fatty acid spot test. And the fatty acid spot test helps you to discern what are your specific deficiencies, because some people do not need fish oils. You know, some people, it'll exacerbate their situation if they have fish oils. And some people, they may need omega-3s versus omega-6s versus omega-9s. So you may want to get an understanding of what specific fish oil, not fish oil, but what specific omega fatty acid you need, as opposed to just saying, oh, just take a generic fish oil, you know. So fish oil is one specific type of omega fatty acid. And so perhaps for this gentleman, perhaps what he needed more so is omega-9s, you know, coming from things like primrose, even primrose oil and things of that nature, especially since you have that interplay with the sex hormones. So when you have that interplay with the sex hormones, then we start to look more generic generally, and start to look not only in terms of his testosterone levels, but also in terms of his estrogen levels and progesterone levels. Because yes, men, you do also have estrogen and progesterone. Yes, we all have all three of those things: estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, just in different ratios and things of that nature. So depending on where those levels are, it would determine which specific omega fatty acid would be better suited for him. So like I said, perhaps in his situation, he didn't need the sixes and the threes, but rather he needed perhaps the nines, which would have given him more balance with his sex hormones and not have created that kind of situation that evolved. And that's assuming that there's a connection between the PSA and the omegas, you know, that he took. But PSA in and of itself has come under a lot of fire recently. If you start doing research, because people are starting to say, is this really a valid test? Kind of like another test that we know of, but we won't talk about right now. But anyway, so there's a question whether or not there's a validity in using a PSA as a determinant of quote unquote prostate cancer. So for whatever it's worth, I don't know. Dr. Lang, what about you? What you say? You're muted.
You know, I'm not all that familiar about the application of fish oils in, you know, with the intent of reducing inflammation. And so I don't know if I could speak directly to, you know, how that comes up. I think, you know, I'm in the same boat with the pharmacist where I get questions before they go to the physician, and I'm like, you know, it's kind of not my lane. You know, I don't know if I would be the one to advise you in that, right? You know, the types of inflammation that I deal with does have some crossover systemically. You know, we start to talk about diabetes, you know, all the systemic diseases that are essentially based in inflammation. But you know, my expertise is not, you know, necessarily relevant to what they would be concerned about. So you know, I don't. Yeah, that's just not my lane. I don't, you know, and if I can't speak to it, I just don't say anything.
I hear you. But you know, the big thing that I really want to emphasize is lab test, not best guess. You know, so I would really encourage the person that you were speaking with to consider doing the the fatty acid spot test, and that would really give him an understanding of what his specific needs are with regards to the fish oil thingy. And then also with regards to the PSA situation, for him to really consider doing a comprehensive hormonal test. And the one that I like is the Dutch test, and it's called dried urine test of complete hormones, and it's the Dutch test. And what it does is that it checks all of your metabolites. So what that means is that it checks to see how your body is utilizing all your various sex hormones and stress hormones, because your sex hormones and your stress hormones are very much connected. So that would help him to determine if there are imbalances in his hormones with his testosterone as well as his estrogens, because a lot of guys, especially older guys, start to experience imbalances in their estrogens, what we call aromatizing, where they start to convert their testosterone into estrogen, and they start to have more, inflammatory conditions and things of that nature. So those would be two assessments that I would encourage him to look into and to consider giving him more information to make better decisions, to create a more customized protocol. Because yes, some people do have adverse reactions to fish oils. And especially, like I said, and I forgot to mention that it is contraindicated for certain mental health illnesses, so depending on what people's metabolic profile looks like, it will be contraindicated for certain mental health conditions to take fish oils, actually. So just something to consider. Yeah. Any questions? We have a new person join us. So any questions, you can either throw it live in person or you can throw it into the chat. Stuff for us to talk and discuss. Yay. Oh, come on. Somebody's got to have something to say.
I was wondering, this was kind of something that I've been experiencing. This may be a more, general discussion that we can have that may be beneficial,
Oh, yeah.
With the, the one thing that I appreciate about the experience we have had with the COVID pandemic is that it has definitely caused a lot of people to reassess their life.
Yes.
In positive ways, you know what I mean? And even for me, I took on a whole food plant-based diet, and I've been strong for about maybe 17 months now.
Woohoo!
Yeah, it's been good. And, I think that it speaks to, I need you to go up, please. It speaks to I think the dynamic and the experience that you have with taking responsibility for your health and kind of going with the flow. And I say that because, okay, I'm speaking right now, please go out. I'm saying that because there's gonna be times where, you fall flat on your face and you go get a hamburger. And I think but honestly, that experience, being able to kind of get back on the train is a skill. I think that all of us can identify with, and and kind of taking those learning experiences. Hey, when did that happen? How did it happen? I wasn't prepared. I didn't have any food cooked. I just kind of was hungry, and somehow my car ended at Burger King. You know what I mean? Those type of things. I think that same effect I see with even my dental patients. Hey, I want you to start doing this to improve your health. Just start with this and then see how you do. And then, there's something to be said about just taking inventory of your experience. You know what? When I was trying to start flossing, Dr. Lang, I realized that I don't like it because it makes my gums bleed. Okay, great. Now, let's process that. bleeding gums is not because you floss. It's actually because you don't floss.
Mm.
So let's kind of work through that, and so, I think we can, itemize a million and one things health-wise that we set out to improve about ourselves, but quickly are met with challenges. And, those challenges can be discouraging. And so, I think, it's good to kind of go through those things. Don't take them as losses, take them as learning experiences, and then use them to equip yourself, to achieve the goal. You want to be healthier. You want to be, you want to have a healthier existence. You want to have a healthier life experience. And so I think part of it is that falling, not too long, but for a moment, kind of basking in the fail and figuring out what went wrong and learning from it. So I did that a lot over the past, 17 months. I mean, I'm going to tell you. And, you learn things, you change in positive ways, and so you just have to, for example, one of the things that I got to experience was, I eat a whole lot more, but I don't feel as full. And just that feeling, just that kind of satiated but healthy feeling is a good experience. And so you have to kind of identify with that. Okay, listen, I'm full, but I don't feel full.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or, I ate well, I ate all the calories I wanted to eat, and I'm good. And today my diet had just a little bit more fat in it, and I think that's why. I had just a handful of nuts today, and I think that carried me over. I think I can do this. So I think it's just something that the dieting or just the way you're eating, I hate to call it a diet, but just the way you decide to eat, it's not a diet. It's a way of eating. But, I think that you can laminate that over whatever, inflammation. Hey, I'm dealing with chronic pain. This is a strategy I think that I want to investigate and apply and make it my lifestyle, whether it be fish oil or, just regular exercise and stretching and, maybe some chiropractic care, maybe some acupuncture. There are going to be some things that you kind of have to hurdle. And, that's okay. You take those as learning experiences and not, abrupt halts at your goal.
And you remind me of a saying, I don't remember where I learned this from, but the concept of fail forward.
Yeah.
And it's what I keep sharing with people is that we live in a time and a culture where we're trying to avoid challenges. We're avoiding hardships. We're avoiding anything that is going to test our mettle or be a little bit uncomfortable or a little bit painful, whatever it is. And by doing so, we're actually making ourselves weaker. There is no person that you can think of that you admire that had a life of silver spoons. I mean, at least no one I can admire. When I think of all the people that I admire, they were all people who went through these phenomenal challenges. And the reason why I admire them is because they refuse to stay down. And as the Bible says, it's not about whether or not you fall down. It's about whether or not you say, you know what, let me get back up on the horse. That's why we have stories such as the prodigal son, and countless other stories that emphasize the importance of getting back on track. So with all of my clients, when they say, Michelle, I did such and such, I'm like, yes. And I'm going, yes, because I'm like, so what did you learn? Because every time something goes awry, it's not necessarily that it went awry so much as it's giving you insight into, there's something else I can start looking at and exploring. And there's something else I can learn about myself. So, like you, when I fall off the horse and I end up eating something that I know is not part of my regimen, number one, I get confirmation because my body's like, oh, heck to the no, Michelle, what the heck is this? And I start to be like, oh, okay, now I realize this stuff is for real. It's not about a diet. It's about my lifestyle. And I get confirmation that this is what gives me life. Because when I swerve from that, I get slapped in the head and like get a zit in the face and get all kinds of stuff happening that remind me, oh, let's get back on track, Michelle. You know, so there's that. And then what I love about what you said, Dr. Lang, from the very, very beginning, is that this is what gives you that sense of being empowered, you know, when you can say, man, I can figure this out. I may not understand exactly what it's doing right now, but I know I can figure this out. And I know that I can get better at this. And I can feel myself getting stronger, you know. And that is what I love about what has occurred over the past year and a half in the Chinese culture. The same glyph that represents crisis also represents opportunity.
Look at that.
So these past 18 months, or God, however long it's been,
Mhm.
they could either be interpreted as a moment or a series of crises, or for me, I have chosen to interpret all of this interestingness as opportunities, opportunities for my self-growth, opportunities to start connecting with beautiful people such as you guys, opportunities to inspire myself to do better and do more, opportunities to get back on track, because Lord knows I was swinging off the track and eating stuff and doing stuff that I shouldn't have done. And when this hit, it was like, whoa, wake up call, Michelle, poop, time to alarm, press the reset button, you know, and it helped me to recognize I need to change this. I need to get back on track with this. So when I eat things that I'm not supposed to eat, I've learned how to be able to get back on track more easily, how to be able to clear it out of my system more effectively, how to be able to create a maintenance protocol so that I can rebound.
Yeah.
Because really and truly, health is not about the absence of dis-ease. That is
Yeah.
not what health is. It's not about whether or not you put yourself in a bubble and you don't allow yourself to become infected. That is not health. In
Mhm.
fact, the most health compromised people are the ones who are in bubbles, really, you know. So health is exactly what you said. Health is about whether or not you have the ability to prepare for, respond to, and recover from the challenges of life.
Right.
And I love that. I love that.
If I can add just one more thing, the reason that came up to tonight was that today, you know, I had a really challenging conversation with a patient. You know me, we do more talking than treating, and that's really important to me because I think equipping you with decision-making power is really my job.
Mhm.
Okay, I went to school to learn the ins and outs of a certain aspect of medicine so that when you come to me, I can help you make good medical decisions. And so that the biggest challenge I have to that in achieving that is when patients process their experience the wrong way. And a lot of times it's in just what you said, it's in the absence of pain, I must be great. And so, hey doc, I mean, my teeth are doing great. I mean, they don't hurt, they don't, and I'm like, well, sir, let's rethink that. Let's rethink how we classify great. Okay. Because if I have to make the estimation based on what I know, I wouldn't say that. And that's not to take away from you the positives that we can take from your experience. Hey, I appreciate the fact that you're not in pain. That's great. I don't want you to be in pain. Okay. Because from what I see, not being in pain might be a win. I would expect you to be in a lot of pain, but if you're not, great. But, you also want to make sure that you rest easy in truth and not in kind of we kind of do something, I've done it, we kind of feel safe in not knowing.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, you know what? I don't hurt. Hey, doc, I'm good.
I don't want to know.
I don't want to know. And, that's not really a good position to be in, because now you're not equipped to make necessary decisions when the time comes. And so, hey, listen, let me qualify what good is. Let me qualify what health is. And so if you understand that, now when I talk to you about what I see with you specifically, now you yourself can say, well, doc, that doesn't look all that great. Or, well, doc, that kind of concerns me because that is not what you just told me, And then now we can have a common goal. This is where I want to take you. This is what we can realistically achieve in treatment, But if we don't have that kind of meeting of the minds, if we don't come and approach your state of health from the same place, it's kind of hard to achieve, in truth, health, a state of health. Because like you said, the other thing is that you have to maintain health. Health is not something that you achieve and you do it once and it's stuck there. We can't defeat aging, but we can affect how we age. We cannot make disease go away. The opportunity for disease is always there, but we can affect how it affects us and how susceptible we are to it. And so, these are the things that I think are universal, whether we're talking about eating, whole foods that grow off trees and grow in the ground, or, periodontal disease.
And, a good point that you just brought up is that we tend to believe that the absence of a crisis or the absence of pain reflects health. And unfortunately, what I share with people is that your body was so beautifully and miraculously made that unfortunately it adapts.
Yeah.
And so, slowly over time, disease processes evolve,
right,
and become more and more entrenched in our body, minds, heart, and soul, because we didn't identify the little things that added up and accumulated. And, an example of that is, say, pain.
Yeah.
We have learned to become complacent with pain. So at the slightest little bit of pain, what do? We take Advil or Tylenol or Motrin or some other whatever thingamajiggy. And then your body adapts, right? And then a little bit more pain and you say, okay, I'll take a little more Tylenol or Motrin or whatever, or maybe I'll get a prescription. And so we're constantly upping the threshold of pain ignoring, when pain is actually a blessing.
Right.
A blessing, because it's telling us, red light, smoke detector is going off, your house is burning. And if you are not sensing that pain, allowing yourself to be aware of that pain, if you're not careful, you'll wake up one day and your house will have burnt down. Right. You will be flat on your back in a hospital. And I know, because that happened to me personally, because I kept on ignoring the little signals, thinking, I'm okay, I can deal with it, I can handle it, it's no biggie, until God just came in and said, you know what, you too hard-headed, Michelle, I'm literally going to put you on your back in the hospital so you can have a wake-up call and realize you need to pay attention. And so, I don't want people to be hard-headed like me. I don't want you to end up in the hospital. I want you to pay attention to the little things, the little messages, because as you said, Dr. Lang, we live in a society where we are trained to ignore the signs. We do everything, every time the body gives us a signal. Inflammation is a signal. What we do, we take an anti-inflammatory. And yes, I don't want anybody to be in pain for any long period of time. And at the same time, the question becomes, why did we come inflamed? Don't just get yourself some hydrocortisone cream or whatever it is. find out what's creating the inflammation. You know, we get high blood pressure and we say, let me just take the pill to force it down, instead of saying, why did my blood pressure go up? We get cholesterol clogging up our arteries. And instead of saying, why is the body creating cholesterol? No, we just say, let's take some statin and forget about it. So I love that you are challenging us to live with a little bit of discomfort, to be able to do the investigation and get to what we refer to as the root cause, and to take off the blinders. Take off the blinders. I know it's not comfortable. I know everything in our culture tells us to, ignorance is bliss is the saying, right? Oh, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I'm okay. And perhaps that's what people want to do. But perhaps some of you, I know all of you on this call today, all of you watching this today and in the future, I know there's something inside of you that says, I'm not satisfied. And I'm not saying don't take the Motrin. So I'm not saying to sit there and be like in these mega migraine headaches. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying to follow your spirit that's leading you to ask questions and to have that journey that Dr. Lang is talking about, where you start experimenting and trying this and just sitting back and seeing how your body responds, how your heart responds, how your mind responds, how your soul responds, and having that guide you instead of this concept of, ignorance is bliss. Let me just shut off all the valves. Let me shut off all the blaring lights and just be happy.
It's I don't want to hog the, so I'm going to say this and be quiet. But what you just said, triggered this. One, what's funny is that teeth specifically only process pain. And so they don't, it sounds funny. It's actually the surrounding tissue that gives you the sensation of cold, hot, those type of things. But the tooth itself can only process pain. That's the only way it has to communicate to you, hey, something is going on. That's one point. The other thing I wanted to say is that, I like for patients to understand what I'm here for. Because a lot of times they relegate that kind of attitude that we're talking about in another way. They say, hey, doc, whatever you say, just do it. No, I don't like that situation. I really don't. Because again, it leaves you out on purpose. No, doc, no, just I don't want to hear about that. Just whatever you say we got to do. I trust you. This is what you went to school for. Just do it. I really don't like that. Because again, that's not my place. My place is to help you make a good decision. You know what? I don't think this is going to work. This is what's happening in your body. This is what I think should work if this is what you want to achieve. There's always a million and one ways to skin a cat. Essentially, you just want to be out of pain. But again, we need the teeth to function. We need it to support your face. We need the teeth to speak. There are a lot of things we're trying to restore. And so I need you to help me help you. And so, you should never want to be absent out of the conversation. You definitely want to ask questions. And so, to their credit, I do think it's our responsibility to discuss things with them in plain language. In my clinic, we take blood pressures and we take demographics at every visit. And so sometimes, especially when I have patients who kind of aren't surprised by the numbers, like, hey, that's pretty high. And they're just like, So I say,
what's new?
Yeah. So I always say, hey, listen, do you know what the numbers mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what this is telling us? Hey, this top number is telling me how much work it takes to get blood to pump through your body. And this bottom number tells me, hey guys, I'm on the phone, okay, please. This bottom number, I am on. Sorry, guys. My two sons. This bottom number is telling us how much work it takes to fill your heart. This is normal range. Now, what do you think about that? Doc, that's scary. Well, it doesn't have to be, but now you know. Now you know what these numbers mean. Has anyone ever talked to you about what these numbers mean? And so, you don't be so quick to take us at face value. You know what I mean? You should want to talk to us about what the things we're observing in your body mean, so that, again, you can be a part of the conversation, as you should be, in achieving this more healthy life. And I'm gonna
I love what you're saying. You are the poster child for us, because really and truly, everything that we are about with It Takes a Village Ministry is about empowerment. And you cannot have empowerment amongst our community if people are not educated, if people do not take up the banner and stake a flag in the ground and say, this is my life, I take charge of my life, I'm responsible for my life. And yes, Doc, I'm going to come to you to get some insight and some understandings, but ultimately, I'm the one in charge of my life. So one of the things that we are very adamant about in this forum here for The Doctors Are In, as well as everything else that we do, is giving you information, tools, strategies for you to take charge of your life. As Dr. Lang says, this is your life. We are just kind of like little guides on the side saying, hey, watch this, look at this, understand this, here's this. But ultimately, you are the one who's in charge of your life. We are not there to take that away from you. That is not our role, or it should not, because for me, I'm not an MD. I'm glad I'm not an MD, because it allows me to focus on other things. And at the same time, MD does not mean medical deity, okay? Let's get this understood. I know a lot of people out there with that MD title think of themselves as near to God, right? And unfortunately, many people in our communities feel a sense of disempowerment, and also a sense of, they go into the doctor and they feel almost coward. They're afraid to ask questions. They're afraid to challenge. Because I have literally been in doctors' offices where doctors are like, well, if you don't do what I say, then you can't continue being my patient. And I'm like, fine with me, bye. But I have the courage and the audacity to do that. Many other people have gone through life feeling that they have to kowtow to whatever officials say. If you have a white coat, if you have blah, blah, alphabet soup after your name, then of course you know better than I do. And I want to tell you, you know what? You are the master of your life and your body. And any doctor or any professional, any educator, any public official, I don't care who they are, anyone who does not acknowledge you for who you are and your sovereignty, kick them to the curb and run. Don't walk away from them, run away from them. Because this is about respect and dignity. And that is something that is lacking in our society today, especially when we think about people who call themselves professionals. They don't act, Dr. Lang, many of them don't act like you. They don't go to their patients and say, you know what? I'm a man or a woman or whatever it is, just like you. And I too have questions. I don't know it all. These are some of the things I know, but what you're going to bring to the table is also important. The symptoms that you say, or sometimes it may just be a gut feeling. I can't tell you how many mothers have come to me that said, you know what, the doctor said so-and-so, but something doesn't feel right. And they can't put their fingers on it. They can't put their finger on it, but they know something isn't right. And so then we keep on doing the investigation and doing the drilling down, because we're like, okay, if you don't feel this is right, we're going to investigate. We're not going to just blow it off and say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I got the big old fancy degrees, and so I know more than you. No, if somebody does not respect you, does not respect the spirit telling you something, does not respect, you know, maybe you've done a little bit of research and you have questions, run away, go away, take your money, go to somebody else. Do not feel that you have to sit there and take that nonsense. At least that's my 2 cents on the issue.
Yeah, you know,
William, you were going to say something?
yeah.
I see William unmuted, so he's ready to say something.
Yeah.
No, I know one thing we were talking about last week was that most people go to Dr. Google first, and then they come to you and they hear what Dr. Google says.
Yeah.
And you might as well not even talk.
And you know, one of the things that Dr. Lang brought up is really getting in tune with yourself, more so than Dr. Google, more so than PhD, MD, whatever it is. Getting in tune with yourself, starting to observe things in your own life. As Dr. Lang said, you know, he changed certain things in his life, he changed certain things in his meal plans, and now he's starting to see certain connections that only your body, only God Almighty can teach you certain things about yourself if you are willing to be receptive to those messages.
If you don't believe me, you look at any doctor's clinical note, and the very first line is, patient's chief complaint was. Mm-hmm. Think about that. We need your input. You know, I said this, I think maybe a few months back. I think it was earlier in the year. You know, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm only here to make sense of your experience. I need what, you know, I saw you for an hour at most, and you've been living with whatever condition you're coming to me with for a much more extended period of time. So if anybody is equipped to really explain what's going on, you are.
Yeah. So
we definitely have to, you know, kind of share, you know, the lows in getting you healthy. And I promise you I'm done talking now.
Oh no, don't be done. You know, and I love what you're saying again, because it's about acknowledging and appreciating everyone's input in the conversation. And when someone comes to me, when someone comes to you, it's about having a conversation, you know? And what I share with all of my clients is everything that you are processing is important. And sometimes even the things that you think aren't important. And that's why a lot of times I'm like, and is there anything else? And is there anything else? Even if you don't think it's connected, is there anything else? Is there anything else? Because that helps us to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And you'd be surprised, something that you think has nothing to do with the price of tea in China. You bring it into the conversation, and all of a sudden, Dr. Lang goes, ding! Ah, that's what I needed to hear. Or I go, whoa, that changes the entire conversation. So you are critical. And the most important thing I want you to understand with what we're sharing today is you have the power to transform your life. You are the one with the power, not the doctor, okay? The doctor can make suggestions and all kinds of interesting stuff, but you are the one who has the power to transform your life. It's just utterly amazing. God has made you as co-creator, and you can transform your life if you accept the truth that you are divinely created. And the rest of us, we're just supporting cast. But you're the main deal, dude, and do that. Okay? So we take off our hats to you. We appreciate you. We love you. We honor you. And we recognize that you are the ones that we serve, not the other way around. So we got a silent posse of ladies who are, they're just here. No one wants to say anything.
I will say I love that. I really love that.
Yay.
And I haven't found anyone that in this town that is like that. I'm pretty much my own doctor, but my mother doesn't. My mother goes to somebody and supposed to be integrative health practice, and it's really not. I wish you guys were here.
Well, you can always join us in our virtual home and bring questions, and bring questions that mom may have or sister may have, whomever.
You know what? I'm gonna do that next time. I'm gonna get a list. She wants to get off of so many supplements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I bring her list.
Oh, that would be awesome. Because that is, and I would like to take my hat off to all the caregivers out there, all of you who are taking care of mothers or fathers or aunties or children with disabilities who never will ever grow up, or just other people in your community. We really appreciate you for being caregivers and recognizing that sometimes you are the ones who have to stand in the fire for them, to be their advocates, because they can't stand for themselves. There are a lot of times when I have gone in with my clients to their doctor's appointments because they're afraid of their doctors. And Michelle's got a big mouth, so so they take me. And the big thing is asking the questions. And if they're not able to ask the questions for themselves, then I know you do this. You go in and ask the questions for them so that they can have their voices heard. And I encourage you, if there's someone in your community, a senior citizen in particular, or anyone, it may be just a woman down the block who may have children and she's concerned about whatever, but doesn't know the right questions to ask, go just accompany her. Sometimes we just need to have somebody else there to help us to have the courage to step forward and have our voice be heard. So that's just my 2 cents. Okay. Well, ladies and gents, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. And as I shared with those of you who were here earlier, we are taking the show on the road. Yes, this is our tour mascot. This is Sophie. She's going to be joining us. And we are going to be going across the nation to a town near you. If you want us to come to your town, just shoot me a message and let me know. Right now, the towns that we have on our list, we're going to be going to Tallahassee, Florida, July 13th through 17th. The next week, we're going to Atlanta, Georgia. Then we're going to Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Then Newport News, Virginia. Then Bridgeport, Connecticut. Then Newark, New Jersey. Brooklyn, New York. Boston, Massachusetts. Washington, D.C. and Brunswick, Georgia. But that is just the first phase of our tour. So if you are not on that particular route, let us know so that we can create a route to head to your town. All righty. And we look forward to seeing you. Oh, yes, we have a question.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Okay. When you come out, what are you guys going to be doing? I'm in the Atlanta area.
Oh, yes. So we're going to be doing a week of healing events. We're going to start off on a Tuesday, and that is when we're going to be showing the documentary Medical Racism and having a community discussion. On Wednesday, we're going to have the live in-person, the doctors are in, with health practitioners in that local town, as well as some of our, illustrious panels streaming in. Then on Thursday, we're going to be having the empowerment workshop entitled Why People Don't Heal, But You Can. On Friday, we're going to have Girls Night Out. And then on Saturday, we're going to be doing an intensive one-day training teaching you how to assess, build, and cleanse, how to transform your health and create your own personalized health plan. So that is the series of events that we're going to be duplicating, replicating in every single town. And now that we have finally locked in our RV, we were able to get our RV. Yay! And we are now looking for, if you're in Atlanta, we are looking for a space, a host, someone who will host us in the Atlanta area, otherwise known as a church or an organization that has a building where we can.
Oh, I
bring in
got
those
a church
events.
I got a church that might host you.
Oh, awesome. Can you send,
Um,
what's your email address? Put it in the chat so that I can email you the information and we can see if we can bring it to your church.
what are the dates? What are the
The
dates?
dates for Atlanta are July 20th through the 24th.
Oh, that's not gonna work.
Oh.
Reason being, because he's not opening the church till after Labor Day. Well,